But
Crazy.
here's a new thing as well. Mac users can now enjoy PC games with a revolutionary change.
Oh, this is the Mac podcast all of a sudden.
Yeah,
That's
right?
crazy.
So the same way that you can play Windows games on your Steam Deck with on Linux, the same thing is coming to Mac. The same kind of program with your Wine and your Proton compatibility layers and all that kind of stuff. Someone's porting that into the Mac and making it work on the Mac.
So, like, what's the deal with Mac? Like, I don't know anything about Macs. Do they have graphics cards in them? Or is this, like, all on board?
No, it's usually all on board, but before, when they had the Intel chips, because before, the first Macs came out with their own chips. Like, they had their own silicone, their own chipsets, all that kind of stuff. So everything worked differently. So when you're coding for a PC and then you go code for a Mac, it's a whole different instruction set, which makes things a little bit more difficult, which is why there weren't that many games on earlier Macs. And then Mac switched to Intel.
Okay.
So they were not using their own silicone. They had Intel chips, which made things way easier to program for. And that's when you could just plug in. That's when you had your Thunderbolt 3 dock with your video card in it, and you could just use that.
Oh.
But now,
okay,
Mac's gone back to their own silicone. So now they're using an M2 chip, which is very powerful, but it's got an onboard GPU, and you can't plug in your Thunderbolt 3 GPU dock now.
So weird.
Yes.
So, like, isn't there Windows for Mac?
There used to be because it was on Intel.
Okay,
right?
and then they were like, no, we're not going to do it
and
now.
now I don't know if you can dual boot with the M2 chip because Windows won't. I don't think it's programmed to work with the M2 chip.
It's so weird. Yeah. It's very weird. So this is basically what you can load into an emulator on your Mac now that runs games through Linux or something like that?
Well, it's the same way that it works on Linux, like the Proton compatibility layer, but it's programmed for the M2 chip and for the Mac. I'm not entirely sure how it works exactly. I think it like converts instruction sets.
Okay.
I have no idea.
So then you can install Steam. Or does Steam have a Mac client? I don't even know. I literally know nothing about Mac. So
Steam, I'm pretty sure Steam does have a Mac client.
Okay.
But, it's very limited to what games are on there. And I would imagine that with the Proton, with Wine, you should be able to just play whatever Steam games you want on it.
Okay. But with no graphics card, how's that? Like?
Oh, it's got inbuilt graphics. So, like, their graphics card is basically in the M2 chip.
And
just
it's
like
good?
it's just, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm not entirely sure. I don't think it's, like, superior to anything, that's for sure.
Okay. Yeah, it's always been weird for Mac. I remember years ago, my buddy had a Mac, and he was trying to play World of Warcraft on his Mac.
Yeah.
And I remember I was waiting for him. He's like, I'm on hold with Blizzard support. I'm almost through. So we're waiting, and we're like waiting to go for dinner or whatever. And finally, he gets through like the thing, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm trying. I have a World of Warcraft account, and I want to play on my Mac. Like, how can we get this running or whatever?" And he's like, "Okay, all right, thanks, bye." And I'm like, "What's the deal?" He's like, "Oh yeah, it's on the disk. Just put it in, and it'll install the Mac version." It's like, you didn't even fucking try that, dude. Oh my god. I'm waiting for like a fucking hour here.
That's hilarious.
This was a long time ago though.
Yeah.
What a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
You want to play video games, dude? Don't buy Mac.
Don't buy Mac, no. Oh, but if you want to play Death Stranding, the director's cut, you can play it on Mac. It's coming this year.
Oh boy. I bet you Timothy Cook was stoked about that one.
I don't know when it's coming, but it's coming this year.
I guess. So you don't need... That'll just run natively in the Mac, I guess. Yeah. Okay, that's good, I guess.
At like 30 frames because no GPU.
It's built in, though, dude.
It is
120 frames per second.
Nah.
Full HDR at 4K resolution.
No, not even close.
Oh,
not even close.
Okay. I guess so.
Yeah.